Hi and welcome back to Recapify. Today, I am going to recap movie The Guardians released in 2017. The Soviet Union establishes an organization called Patriot during the Cold War. They selected representatives from the Union's many ethnicities and conducted research on them to produce a group of superheroes that would protect the nation from all dangers, including otherworldly ones. However, a strange explosion destroyed the facility, obliterating all of the superheroes and the research inside. Additionally, no one has ever since heard of the scientists who built them. New robots that would enable them to battle without a person on the field are being tested by the Russian army. Their highly technological display makes for a strong opening. Nonetheless, the robots abruptly turn around and begin combat with their own teams, tanks, and helicopters. They cannot be stopped by human acts, and once every vehicle has been destroyed, no one survives as the robots attack the building containing all the generals and technicians. Once the haze has cleared, it's revealed that the person behind this is Dr. Koff, one of the scientists behind the Patriot project all those years ago. He's gained superpowers as well. And now he can generate electricity and control machines, so he takes the robots away. Sometime later, the Ministry of Defense holds a meeting to deal with the situation, and it's finally revealed what happened during the Cold War in 1940. Koff was in charge of the Innovative Technologies Department in the Patriot project. His main obsession was Module 1, a remote designed to control any motorized vehicle. The experiment was a failure, and the project was shut down. Koff became extremely jealous of Victor, whose own genetic research impressed their higher-ups, and Koff decided to steal the research to conduct some underground experiments of. His goal was to outperform Victor and be recognized as a great scientist. Too many humans became biological victims of his work, and Koff was arrested. But he escaped anyway and hid his genetics labs. The army decided to storm the lab, but Koff had transformed the place into a bomb, causing a massive explosion. They had thought he died there, but it turns out the chemicals released by the explosion altered his body, and he became the Module 1 experiment he was obsessed with. To defeat him, they'll need to find the superheroes. Meanwhile, Koff is sneaking inside one of the many army warehouses to steal all vehicles and resources he can find. After the meeting, the Ministry of Defense decides they'll reopen the Patriot organization under the charge of Major Lorna. She announces their superhero team will be called the Guardians and makes her people start researching any supernatural story they can find, be through rumors, viral videos, or tabloids. Once they have enough information, they begin traveling all over the place to find these superheroes. The first stop being an arm. In a hidden temple, Lou is living as a hermit, trying to leave his old life behind. When Lena approaches him to talk about the Patriot project, Lure shows off his rock-controlling powers in a threatening way. He doesn't want anything to do with the Patriot project because they played with him to then discard him. But he changes his mind when Lena informs him Kurtov is alive and Lou could get his revenge. Next, they travel to western Kazakhstan where Khan is found meditating in the desert. When the agents approach him in armed vehicles, Khan activates his ghost powers, which allow him to move fast and He kills all the agents with his curved swords in seconds and only stops when he sees Lur, who convinces him to join him for revenge. Their next stop is northern Siberia, where Assis is living in a cabin in the woods. As soon as she sees soldiers approaching, he transforms into his beast form and throws them all away, only calming down when he sees his old friends Lur and Khan. Assis wants revenge as well, so he accepts to join. The final trip is to Moscow, where Xenia has become a famous performer. She uses her powers to perform in a pool where she becomes invisible under. One evening after a show, she finds Khan in her dressing room and immediately attacks him, showing off her fighting skills. Khan uses his ghost powers to get out of the fight and urges Xenia to remember her old friends. But Xenia refuses to listen. Lou shows up as well, and Xenia immediately attacks him too, starting yet another pointless fight that Lou wins because he was the one that taught Xenia her moves. Assis cuts in and explains to her that they're all loners with superpowers who haven't aged in 40 years just like her. So even if she doesn't remember them, she could join their cause to find out who did this. In the meantime, Koff finishes creating his very own clone army to carry on his plan. The Guardians return to the Patriot headquarters, where Xenia explains what happened to her. Her first real memory is from 1978 when doctors found her near Sevastopol. Nobody could identify her, and she only knows her name. She had an engraved ring with her doctor's set, which helped. With time, her memories would return, but that hasn't happened yet. When Xenia noticed she didn't age, she knew other people would notice too, so she decided to travel. Her powers include invisibility in water, thermoresistant skin, and controlling her body's temperature in all conditions. At that moment, Lorna's team announces they found Koff in a junkyard that he's using as his command center. They must therefore rapidly employ the element of surprise before Koff notices them. When they arrive there, Xenia is happy to see it's raining because she'll be able to become invisible. However, they also find that their transmission has been jammed, making communication impossible. The crew breaks up after reaching the headquarters to launch multiple attacks. Xenia walks in without. Sadly, the guards' specialized goggles allow them to view Xia's body temperature, and they immediately use special weapons to freeze her on the spot. Khan and Assis use their abilities to kill as many men as they can. However, the guards are expecting this as well. When Khan stops moving, he's hit by a paralyzing dart and Assis is captured by an unbreakable net. Inside the building, Lu uses a special trick to create a mini earthquake before covering his whole body with rocks. When he is finished dealing with the guards surrounding him, Kurtov himself appears. Solar begins attack. His pebbles are nothing more than tickles for Koff, who rushes Lu and fractures his back. Moments later, Koff has lured Khan and asked us inside a force field cell and explains he had been expecting them. As the source of his warrior's abilities, he equipped them with the appropriate weaponry. Koff always knew their weaknesses. He invites the Guardians and gives them a day to consider it, ignoring their claims that death would be preferable to working with him. Assis possesses a knife, but the force field prevents him from using it. Afterward, Koff gathers the tanks he stole to start his invasion. The news reports pandemonium all over the place as the city quickly devolves into a battle zone. They also talk about a stolen space transmitter and the army being completely useless against these attacks. It turns out Koff actually made a deal with a spy in the army that got him access to the warehouses and the soldiers that protected his base, and he now plans to begin his Module 2 project using the space transmitter. The Ankino Tower and the Federation Tower will be connected to the transmitter, according to the plan, and send a signal to the Russian satellite, which in return will allow him to control every other satellite and therefore all technology on Earth when Koff begins taking away the towers. Because he was told that things wouldn't spiral out of control, his army spy is upset, but Koff just. While Lu is recuperating, Lena rescues him and returns him to the headquarters. Lu tells Laren that when he passed out, he had a vision of his daughter that reminded him of all the good time he had with her and his grandchildren. Laren never aged, but his kids did. And while his grandchildren left to travel the world, Lear had to witness his daughter's passing as she grew older. Later on, Kurtov's former lab buddy Victor pays Lena a visit. Everyone thought he was dead. Victor explains that he has been hiding for years and has just now come out because he saw Koff on the news and he knew they would need his help too. Victor starts working on curing Lur right away and gives Lena the location of Koff's secret lab to rescue the others. The crew enters the lab fast and eliminates all the guards, and shoots the keypad that maintained the force field, releasing the guards. Khan feels so humiliated though that he just leaves the team while Koff continues to move the towers around the city. Assis confesses to Lena during their conversation back at headquarters. He is concerned about Xenia, whom he has been keeping an eye on for quite some time. After their initial escape during the war, Assis saw Xenia again 8 years ago, but he realized she didn't remember anything and decided to keep his distance. He also worries about his transformations, which are getting wilder each day and make him afraid of possibly getting stuck in the beast form forever. Victor probably can find a cure, and Lena assures them they won't allow that happen. Speaking of Victor, he's in the secret lab studying KTO clones when he is suddenly found by Kurtov, still mad over the results of their war experiments. Koff accuses Victor of betraying him to work alone and swears he'll make the world see who the real genius is. Then he sets off the lab's traps, which causes a lethal chemical to be released, killing Victor. Afterward, Koff goes to check on the installation of the space transmitter with the towers to get it started. The activation of this powerful machine causes Patriot system to finally detect and understand Kurtov's plan. To stop him, they dispatch several fighter jets, but Koff just commands the army robots to kill them, causing the planes to crash all over. Lena approaches Khan to find out what's wrong as he is watching this from the top of a building. Khan confesses he used to have a brother he idolized because of how good he was as a fighter, but with time Khan realized he became nothing but his brother's shadow and nobody believed in him. He agreed to serve as Kurto's guinea pig so he might get stronger, and when he did, he developed powers. He challenged his brother to a fight. However, Khan lost control and killed his brother without meaning to. While expressing sympathy, Lena also serves as a reminder of the city. Once all the Guardians are back together and well, Larina announces they've made new suits and weapons for them that fit their powers. Assis receives a cannon with a targeting mechanism that is directly linked to his nervous system and picks targets based on where his aggression is focused. When he starts to transform into full beast mode, the cannon then switches to fully automatic cons. His new suit shields him from all types of physical harm, including gunshots and swords, and tranquilizer darts on the spinal area. They installed a harpoon and reinfork. Furler. They created a garment that allows him constant access to rocks, and a special whip that transforms his telekinetic ability to control rocks into electromagnetic impulses. Lastly, Xenia gets a suit that allows her to become invisible whenever she chooses, and she can make any object invisible with her by only touching it. The group starts practicing with its new weaponry, and although there are some mishaps at first, with enough practice, they gain full control and are ready to rumble. Koff is currently charging the towers in order to transmit the signal with a beam, so Patriot has an hour to do. The team makes a plan to dismantle the tower's force field, after which they must escape as quickly as possible because the whole Moscow city complex will be destroyed by rocket launchers. Lou sneaks into Kurt's work area by using the subway tunnels where he easily beats up all the guards with his new whip. Assis and Xenia take on the guards on the streets, a fight that starts easy for them until more guards arrive. Xenia has to hide. However, Assis lets his body into full beast mode and easily wins the battle. Then Xenia takes Assis to the mall to meet Lou, where the size of the Assis poses some issues in the elevator. Khan approaches the tower by plane, and this time Pilot is ready to dodge the attacks coming from the army eyes. He's having trouble, though, getting the plane near enough for him to jump assist. Lure and Xenia reach the mall roof and begin crossing one of the many iron bars that are holding Kurtov's tower up to access. It protects them by opening fire on them from a parallel bar that acts as a slide. Lure uses his whip to create a shield, but he is unsure how long he will be able to maintain it. Khan wants to help and decides to jump anyway, making up for the long distance by connecting a grapple line to the tower, which allows him to reach the bar with the guards and slice it to make the men fall. Lorna discovers Victor at Kurt's lab, where he still has a few minutes to live. He tells Lorna that he discovered the Guardians possess the ability to transfer their power to one another, and this merging increases their strength. Kurtov disabled Lur because he was concerned that such powers may split the Earth in two. It is challenging to manage this energy transfer. Therefore, they must avoid making any mistakes or they will die. The Guardians end the tower, and after knocking out a few guards, they find the generator. The guys discuss options to disable it, but Xenia just goes for it and grabs it to short-circuit it. It aches her horribly with the heat of her body, but it also manages to shut down the force field around the top of the tower, and Xenia falls with the field down, and Assis catches her. The army is ready to begin bombing, but Lorna requests that they hold off until the Guardians arrive. The Guardians go to the top of the tower to fight Koph, but things don't go well with his power. He easily disables S cannon and Lu's whip, and his strength takes care of Khan. In time to avoid him, Xenia touches Lur to turn him invisible. He can reclaim his whip in this manner. Koph gets captured by the whip, and Khan tries to kill him with his blades. But Koph is too strong and simply frees himself with a shockwave, pushing everyone back. Koph then pursues Xenia, leading Assis to abandon his cannon and switch into full beast mode without considering the consequences. Unfortunately, Koph can still knock him out with one blow because of his strength. The army announces they can't wait anymore and sends their vehicles to blow up the area. As soon as Khan sees a plane flying by, he connects his grapple line to it. Then he connects all the Guardians to the line so they can be taken away. Koph notices this and uses his powers to make the plane lose control, prompting Khan to cut the line and release all the Guardians in the river before the plane crashes. At that moment, the army finally launches its missiles, but Koph laughs and makes them explode in the sky before they can even reach. As Koph eventually establishes communication with the satellite by the river, Larina meets with the Guardians and shares what she has learned from Victor. The Guardians make the risky decision to focus all of their strength on Lure, who charges a blast of energy that he shoots at the tower, instantly destroying it and all the buildings that surround it. Koph also plunges to his death as a result of it. The newscasts report the city has been spared, but the true nature of the alleged terrorist strike is unknown. Although the city has been spared, it remains unclear what exactly was allegedly a terrorist attack. They also think it was the armed forces that saved the day with some secret. Efforts to rebuild are getting started as well. Lena acknowledges the Guardians' assistance and thanks them. Nonetheless, the Guardians declare they will return to their mundane existence, especially Xenia, who has remembered the source of her ring. However, they make a commitment to return if major problem arises once again before they depart. They have located more Guardians, Lena informs them. Later on in the night, two men pull over a van from which Lorna emerges. Later on in the evening, Lorna exits from the van after two men have stopped it. Someone by the name of Fem sent them. Lena exits after hearing this name. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.